Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson, Jim Jonas with another episode of Veterans in Politics. I hope you guys like our new setup because I like it. And Jim, you like it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We can't wait to see how it looks on film, though. And our first guest in this new setup is Christian Bishop, Nevada State Senator, District Number 5 candidate. Jim, you have any rants?
Actually, I really don't have a rant for this first episode. I'll save it for the last one. By the way, we have 3 shows today.
3 shows.
And so one of the things that it's not a rant, just saying like, how many endorsement interviews did we do this year?
A lot.
And all the interviews we do, it's a lot of work to try to educate you guys. So please tune in and try to educate yourself because it is so important. Because remember, these people that you are electing are the ones that are writing the laws that you have to live by. Just remember that.
Yeah, and we also have a YouTube channel. It's on Veterans in Politics, and sometimes I have to go to a Steve Sampson YouTube channel because people are always trying to say I am copyright infringement. I'm invading their privacy and all that, and then I have to go and appeal it. And then I win anyway, but it's just a pain in the ass. But but anyways, all of our endorsement interviews and talk show interviews, they're all on Facebook. They're all on either one of the pages. Go to my page. They're on there, and they're on all different of Veterans in Politics pages as well. Yeah. But we have Christian Bishop. How you doing today, sir?
Hey, I'm well, guys. Thanks for having me. It's nice to be back with you guys again. It's the second time after that, all that endorsement work y'all were doing, all those interviews.
That was a lot of work.
I missed you guys. Glad to be back.
And we take it very, very, very seriously.
Yeah.
So when somebody try to put a kibosh on our thing, we want to like jack them up. We want to like because we take it seriously. We've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
And we take it extremely seriously because there's a lot of people that go to these endorsement interviews and from our endorsement, they vote accordingly.
Yeah, you know what's fascinating is you're building a content library, if you guys think about it, right? The years you've done it and the numerous amount of candidates that you're actually interviewing, it's one of the only opportunities that you'll see an interview publicly available, right?
Yes.
I can't think of another one throughout this entire campaign experience for me.
Thank you for saying that, by the way.
So it's fascinating that it's available. And really the body of work, right? And as you continue to do it, it's going to build up, become more valuable. Yes. And depending on where people go in their careers too, you think about that content you had when they were just getting started.
They'd be like, oh my God, did I say that 5 years ago?
Right. Yeah. Well, and the other part of it too, right, is being willing to put yourself out live. And this stuff, you can't ever take anything back that I say on camera right now. You're never going to be able to take it back. Well, so being able to demonstrate the courage to sound like an idiot sometimes and be willing to put yourself out there like that.
Yeah, it's sensitive, especially for candidates, right? People want to control the edit. They want to control the content and be careful what they say or do, right? So
yeah, how many times, Steve, have you and I gotten text messages from candidates? Well, I'm coming on. What are the questions you're going to ask? No
questions.
That's not.
We don't even have a script. The only thing I have is telling me that Christian Bishop is on the show.
Right.
Mr. Bishop.
Yes, sir.
Tell us, give us a bio.
Yeah, so for me, my mom, single mom, 4 kids. She worked hard, right, getting us where we've gotten. I was raised by a village of sorts. My dad wasn't in my life because his father was racist, right? So that side of the family didn't know I existed. I'm half black and half white. So my mom did what she could. I was an accident. I got raised. He laughs at my pain. He laughs at my pain.
He said I was in pain.
I was an accident too.
Yeah, probably. No,
I'm pretty sure I was too.
That's why we're the way we are, y'all. See, this is why we got that trauma. But I was raised by my grandma at some point. My aunts and uncles all stepped up, and then eventually I ended up getting. My dad got back in my life when his father passed. He mustered up the courage, and I ended up getting able to go to boarding school, military boarding school by Patrick Air Force Base. Okay. 5 years. I was there 8th grade to my senior year. Ended up graduating at the top of my class, but I went in as a little nerdy, skinny kid with headgear, braces. I was still peeing in the bed. 5 guys in a room, and it was rough, right? So I ended up going through that, and then growing up, and ended up graduating as a major wing diamond, senior class president, and did really well. And then came back out to LA. I was on my own when I was 18, and worked 2 jobs through college, majored in business. And I jumped into corporate America for the first 8 years of my career in tech and media. And I worked for some of the largest companies in the world. And then I was like, okay, I looked at the corner guy in the office and I was like, I don't want to be that guy in 20 years. I want to do something different. My stepmom came from a reality TV world. So I jumped into some TV shows. I actually ended up going to a fitness expo where I entered an arm wrestling tournament. Ended up breaking a guy's arm up on stage, and everybody screamed in the semifinals, and that's what attracted the recruiters to come over. And they were like, "We want you." And then I took a meeting, and next thing you know, I'm on The Bachelorette, going on that show. Got my heart broken in front of all my friends and family, and then I pivoted to after that. I'm doing a couple shows in Paradise and some other content. After 2 years, went and pivoted into my video game passion and esports. Built some companies, sold one in 2019 to the Ohio Innovation Fund, bought 14 properties of real estate around the country, cash flowed, started my family. I was like, yo, I got to get better. And so I went and got my master's at UNLV in business. Then I was like, I regret not finishing law school. So I jumped into law school, and I'll be graduating this year. And then I'll
Law school?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Oh, wow, congrats.
Thank you. And then I'll
So
be...
what was your master's in business? Was
Business.
it an MBA?
Yeah, MBA. Yeah, it was really, really neat MBA UNLV program. It was hybrid through the pandemic. I was like, look, I got all this free time. So I was like, I want to get better, right? So like use this time to get better. That's what I went and did. And I thought how I viewed my dad, even though he wasn't in my life, I looked up to him and I have respect for him based on his accomplishments. And I thought of my kid, right? Despite it all, right? Despite him not being there. And I looked up to him because of that and what he did in the community. And I was like, I want to improve. I want to get better. You know, my kids drove me for that. And that's why I ended up going to law school after. And I'll be finishing that up this year. And I'll be joining the Air Force as a JAG in the reserves. We'll serve for you guys in the Senate.
And you just had a birthday. Congratulations. Happy belated, actually.
Thank you. You know, you didn't wish me happy birthday originally.
I did. I did a Facebook like.
Did you call me?
No, I didn't call you.
That kind of friend you are, Mr. Sanchez?
I don't even call myself when it's my birthday.
How do you think Hanson would have done on The Bachelorette? Would he have gotten a rose?
Who?
You.
Man, I would have got a dozen roses, man. and a box of chocolate.
Well, since I'm sitting closer to him than you, I'm just going to be quiet on that, in my opinion.
So you're running for State Senate District number 5, right?
Yes, sir.
Where are the boundary lines for that?
Yeah, so it goes east through Water Street, right? All the way through Water Street. Ultimately about a couple miles, right? All the way to the left, up down Eastern. Just before Anthem, right? We're not all the way up there. That crosses over, I think it's about to District 20. It's a bit more rural. That wraps around then a few miles, right? North of the 215, up to Paradise area. It's about 150,000 voters. It's become more diverse than people realize, right? It's 10% African American, 10% Latino, 10% Asian as well, and about 60% Caucasian. But it's more diverse than people realize in Henderson, and it's growing. It's one of the top 100 cities in the country, the second largest city in Nevada, and I think it's more diverse, and it's time. It's time to have a diverse candidate that I think represents the community.
So what drove you into politics? Why are you running for this seat?
My dad originally ran for controller in LA, and then he was small business commissioner for many years. And I've always involved in Democratic politics for years, right? So I served on e-boards, helped the candidates get elected. I saw the opportunity here in Nevada to secure a supermajority in the Senate. Our current Senator, Carrie Buck, in 4 years has gotten 0 bills passed. I'm a business builder, I'm a problem solver.
She's too busy trying to upset the Republican Party. That's what it is.
Is that your party still?
Still, yeah.
I heard we were talking. I was trying to get you to change. Consider entering as a Dem. Any chance? Do I have any chance?
You know, there was a chance. I did a pro and con on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm more conservative than I am liberal, but I do have domestic liberal views.
Yeah.
Like you could marry who the hell you want.
Yeah.
Pro choice.
Yeah.
But when it comes to guns, a strong military, open borders, I am so conservative on those issues.
Yeah.
Steve, it's interesting because Steve and I basically have the exact same political views because we had a conversation years ago. Like, okay,
I gotta see if we're a good fit.
We don't understand how you can be conservative on the economic side of it, but on the social side of it, like you can tell people what to do with their life. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I aspire in Henderson at the end of my term as Senate, right, as a senator, after 3 terms, 12 years, to drive people to the Democratic Party because of what I represent, right? I don't think that we're not aligned on things that we care about our country first, right? And just Second Amendment and right to bear arms and that position for the Constitution, right? Protect us from tyranny and hold everyone accountable, including potentially our government, right? And you look what happened with the British. So I get that. I think responsible gun ownership is important. It's something that you wouldn't disagree with either. You're a Marine, right? You take it very seriously. If you're going to own firearms, you're going to properly store them, right? You need to train, right? I train. I take it seriously myself. I'm a gun holder. I have my concealed carry, right? So I'm very much a moderate and have a variety of perspectives. I'm a business owner, right? I'm be joining my military because I care about my country a lot. I'm American first. So I hope to attract people to the Democratic Party based on what the candidate represents and my values and help inspire folks. And I hope that's what our political process gets back to doing versus pure political party politics, but actually candidates that inspire and drive folks to participate in the process.
So let me ask you a question real quick. Sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're fine. I'll just forget about what I was going to say.
Here's the thing that frustrates me is, like, how do we actually get back there, though? Because you want to drive people to the Democrat Party, which is fine, but why? You talk about we need to be America first, but from what's going on right now in this country, it's like there are certain people that will only vote for you if you're a Democrat or a Republican. How do you cross that bridge?
Yeah, and it goes back to the candidate, right? In the campaigns, you can't take votes for granted.
Right.
You got to earn it, right? You need to do the work, right? So, and can't rely on gerrymandering and party politics and speaking hard left, hard right, because what happens is you're going to have a fracture like we're seeing. That's why the nonpartisan, base is the biggest growing voter base in the state, right? It's almost 34% of voters are nonpartisan, and I think people are disenfranchised and frustrated, especially the younger people. And that's going to continue to cause issues, right? And you'll start to continue to see a fracture, especially from a decade to decade standpoint, and that's how I think. I think my life that way, tenure to tenure. I don't think short term, right? I think too many people are short term thinking. So I view it that way. And as you guys know, you start to see cracks in the foundation system, and then you see titanic change, significant change. I think people are frustrated. So I think candidates and campaigns that represent the communities and the way the world's changing, and the diverse perspectives that we have, civil discourse, is always acceptable because that's the way it's supposed to be. I think we can eventually get there, or the party system will fracture completely, and you'll see the nonpartisan base and independent, things coming together. You see people like Robert Kennedy, right, stepping up and running, and you see things like that. So we'll see, man. We'll see. It's a big conversation. And I don't know if any of us can directly see how it plays out, but I know at least in my microcosm, I could do my best to lead the way that I think people should lead with the right leadership values that I think I'm trained to have, and great leaders and men and women that I grew up with and helped raise me, instilled in me, right? The way you lead matters. How you treat people matters. You need to have the confidence and forward thinking, I think, to do the job.
I think if we concentrate on doing our jobs as an elected official, and doing the American people's bidding or Nevadans bidding instead of all this back and forth political party fighting crap, we would get a lot done. For example, I call the legislature a bunch of a bunch of frat parties, because if your name is on a bill and they don't like you, that bill doesn't get anywhere. It shouldn't be like that. It should be, if your name is on a bill and it's a damn good bill, we should go forward with it. Not because the person that sponsors it, is because it's a damn good bill for the Nevadans, right? And that's how it's supposed to be, but it's not like that. And I don't think that whoever runs the committee should have the vote as to say what bill is going to move forward through committee and go on the floor. I think it should be up to the committee as a whole. Like, say if you were in the Judiciary Committee for the legislature, right? It should be up to the committee to vote on the bill if it moves forward to the floor. It shouldn't be left up to the chair to decide. The chair shouldn't have that much power. I don't think so. I think it should be left up to the committee, because you're chair of the committee. It should be left up to the committee, and the committee vote on it, and then it goes forward or it doesn't. The chair shouldn't just say, well, you know what? Oh, well, shit, Christian Bishop. Man, I don't like that asshole. That bill ain't going nowhere. It shouldn't be like that. And that's the problem we have with our legislature right now. Yeah. And how are you gonna make the difference?
You know what? It goes back to exactly, I think, what we've been talking about. It's leadership values, right? Mm-hmm. If you have compromised leadership values, you'll see it rear its head through a variety of processes and, situations throughout anything that you're doing, right? Is that you're going to make it about you. You're going to use it for your own personal gain or your own personal vendettas, that you'll do those things. But true leadership, right, is going about things and thinking about the bigger picture and what's right for the entire community. And that is, even if you may have the power, right, it's that lovely Spider-Man quote, with great power comes great responsibility. It doesn't mean you have to exercise it, right, in killing bills and blocking folks. If it's quality legislation and it's a net positive, and especially if the governor will sign into law, and it has support on both houses and it's bipartisan, that should go through, right? And if it's your community, it should get done. It starts with me. Everything starts with us, right? As individuals, in the way that we lead and the way we live our lives, to take accountability for me to lead the way to not participate in gatekeeping and not participate in that type of decision making, but judge things based on their merits, make decisions, and don't have petty, grievances with folks and make it personal, which is a problem and almost a question like, is it an ego thing, right? Like, why do that? I don't simply accept that it's the system and that's the way it is, right? I don't, right, accept those things. For me, I want to be a part of the change. That's why I'm running, right? I see these things that are done. It's why I'm going against the establishment, right, myself as a non-endorsed candidate. There hasn't been a candidate that's won against the Senate caucus that hasn't been endorsed, right? My campaign broke the fundraising record in the state last year in an off year, doubling the incumbent Gary Buck last year without $1 of special interest money, without $1. We had over 200 contributions. We have more contributions in our CNE than active legislators, right? Why is that? Why are all your contributions from special interests, PACs, lobbyists? Why? It's mind-boggling to me.
It's because they want something. That's
sure.
why.
Yeah, but then you're beholden.
By an influence.
Yeah, you're a puppet to the lobbyists.
Imagine selling out your community for a $5,000 check. Mm-hmm. Couldn't be me. Mm-hmm. I don't need their money.
Absolutely. So, what bill draft request are you going to propose? Let's hear 5.
I don't have them figured out yet.
You're supposed to carry anyway as a freshman.
You have 10. 10 got to be submitted in.
So let's hear 5 of them.
I don't have 10 yet. I don't have 10 figured out.
5.
I don't even have 5. I don't have 5. I don't have 5 figured out, right? So when I think of...
How many do you have figured out?
Very few. I haven't even got that far. I got a few elections to win. Why haven't you been out here door knocking with me? I'm out here in these streets every day. I'm out here knocking on hundreds of doors a day in the hot sun and 99 degrees. He's out here chilling in New York, coming back, firing on me, asking for my BDRs. What is it?
I'm too busy trying to get people on billboards that you didn't take advantage of.
I didn't know it was that important to you, that you want to be on a billboard so bad.
No, it should be important to you. Get your name out, not me.
You moved to Henderson, register as a Democrat, come vote for me. That's important for me. They don't get on the billboard.
Too busy doing endorsement interviews.
Yeah,
you know the work in that?
Yeah, you are doing a lot of endorsement interviews.
We got 49 candidates we endorsed.
I was exhausted looking at the content. You wore me out just looking at the content. You guys did a ton of work again. But when I can tell you what's important to me, right? First off, the reality as a freshman is there's only going to be certain things I'm going to be able to get done as a freshman legislator, right? Period. There's certain type of bills you can carry and can't, right? If you think of money bills that have to go through Ways and Means, that's probably going to be particularly difficult, right? I'm probably going to think of things that have bipartisan support, that are solid issues that support things like our veteran community. I'd like to enable our veteran courts, right, and support them and do more there. That's something that's important to me. I like to help and support our AAPI community and the Filipino community in particular that I'm going to work with on a few legislative work, right? When I think of our healthcare system and education, that's really important to me. And I always say, if we could be number 1 in gaming, if we're number 1 in hospitality, we're great in mining, and now we're doing fantastic in sports, why can't we be number 1 in education and healthcare? Mm-hmm. Why are we 48th in education? Why do people have to send their kids out of the state or their loved ones and fly back for work and leave their loved ones or kids in a hospital? Mm-hmm. You know how heartbreaking that would be for me? How many people don't have the means? It's unacceptable to me, right? We grew our general fund from $2 billion to $10 billion. Mm-hmm. Treasurer Konai did a fantastic job in which state we had a surplus and we did well. We have it. We got it like that. Vegas is a AAA market. right? We have the opportunity to do things, and we can take care of folks so that they can take care of us and be at their best every day. So you'll see me invest in things around healthcare and education as well, support our teachers and the support staff as well, pass legislation. You'll see me work on something around the school board of how do we hold the trustees accountable so that when we get something done as a legislator, they don't take 9 months to enact it. For example, when we allocated $2 billion, it took 9 months to get a deal done with teachers, and we lost thousands of educators across our state. I walk in the classroom and I talk to teachers, and people are like, yeah, kids are like, yeah, we have a substitute more than we do a teacher. I'm sorry. What? That wasn't my childhood. Substitute was a party day. That was the fun day. Imagine, Sanson, when a sub was in, I was a kid.
When the sub was in, it was like, hey, we're just going to watch this movie.
Exactly.
And as long as no one gets impregnated,
Whoa!
right? It's like, okay. It's
Good thing we didn't have smartphones back then. All we did was draw and play tic-tac-toe on the desk.
Right. So it's like, you think about that and you're like, talk about an obvious problem. And teachers were more just educators to me. They were role models to me.
Right.
They were parental figures in a way. They were the head of the clubs. They were my coaches. Yep. So that tells you a lot, that if we have more sub days, so I'll address things like that, right? And then obviously economic development is really important to me, right? I believe in abundance. And through creating more opportunity, diversifying our economy away from the ones I mentioned that are obvious, let's drive new industries that aren't going to be heavy use on our water, right? That are going to be complementary at high paid skilled work, right? So people don't have to leave the state and we can keep our talent here and diversify our economy, but integrate with our schools. Offer apprenticeships, offer internships, invest back in the community, provide equipment, provide laptops, school, computer labs, design labs, STEM stuff. Let's get back into math, right? Technology, engineering, things like this that are really important. You'll see me really lean into things like that as well.
Okay. So what have you done in your life to bring you to this point?
Yeah. So if you think through my time in the beginning of corporate America, right? So I obviously had an opportunity to create, build, manage, lead teams, right? Contribute as an individual contributor and then as a leader and manager with some of the biggest companies in the world and understand structure, right? Corporate structure, P&Ls, delivering from that perspective. Then I got to enjoy being out and being a D-lister for a moment and meeting a variety of communities all around the world, right? Which gave me a cultural perspective because I'm traveling around the world, meeting all kinds of people of different backgrounds, creeds, which is a humbling experience and fascinating, right? And that leads to the part of why I love people so much and really enjoy connecting with all different types of people and actually getting to know folks, right? And more than just the surface, but actually getting to know people and actually build a lot of empathy within me, which is something that's really important to me too, leading with empathy. And the next is entrepreneur. I'm used to building from nothing when it's hard. Entrepreneurship is brutally difficult and very, very hard to grind every single day when there's no one to tell you what to do, no one to tell you what to do every day, when to show up, but it's on you every single day. And not only that, I got over 100 people that work for me, right? I got a huge team of staff and a variety of companies. At the end of the day, I got to make payroll. You get paid less. People lean on you for your guidance. People lean on you to make decisions that impact all of them. Right? You mess up, you take L, that's everybody's jobs, right? And you have to drive it and you have to have the leadership skills to hold people accountable. And again, it's not about you. You don't get to be selfish. You got to think about your team. You got to build, you got to solve problems while competing with these massive corporations. And there's a lack of funding and access to capital. And you got to be scrappy, right? And you got to be creative. So I've gotten used to doing that and being able to actually sell businesses, right? Very few people are able to actually do that at a young age. To be able to pull that off. And then you think of my education, right? Challenge you to think through that from our leaders, right? How many people have the education to back it as well, regardless of my diverse perspective, but I've got the MBA, right? Which is, it is what it is. And I get that formal education. I learned some things. But then when you think of legislating and the process of creating law, that's why I went to law school, right? You are creating law, right? You're drafting these bills, do you understand the bills you're reading, that you're voting on, and that the depth of the things that you're actually participating on and how that actually functions to the legislative rear branch of government and what that impacts? You got to think through that, right? So that's something that is providing a really different perspective of me, intertwining with my business entrepreneurial perspective. And I'm a dad. Right.
That's one thing I wanted to ask you. So overall, obviously, you're a very intelligent individual.
Thank you.
What do you believe is the actual fundamental role of government? Because that's a debate that goes back and forth between, you get the economic point where it's like some people are supply side economics, some people believe in Keynesian economics. What do you honestly feel
as
a business owner?
Yeah, I love capitalism, right? I just do. I think it's important. I think it's really important. I believe it drives growth. I believe it drives progress. I believe competition is good for the market in many, many ways, right? I think government makes a lot of sense, especially for organizations and things that we don't want to be about profit. When you think about the fire department, we don't want it to making a business decision on whether or not they're going to respond to that 911 call or that EMT call, right? You think of law enforcement, we don't want it to be for profit. I think there's certain parts of our government and municipality that make sense to provide services for the people. And that's why public schools, I think, is really important and a critical thing to not undermine, right, as well. It's very important that all kids have an opportunity, regardless of their means, to live up to their potential, and education unlocks that, and it's really key. So I think there's some really critical core foundations that are really important for the government to take a perspective in a long-term mindset investment. Well, it's not about profit. Corporations has a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to drive shareholder value and growth, period. Fiduciary responsibility. They can be sued by their shareholders if they don't. They're going to always do what's best for them to drive profit. They really are. So like all of these, they'll have like their nice PR things that they want to do for our communities and whatnot, but it's not quite the same. And then you obviously think about our military. And you look at our global landscape of capitalism and how we have this global economy now and free trade. Big part of our military is that we've paroled the oceans, right? We've patrolled the oceans and we've allowed trade to actually operate and participate and have a diverse economy that's global. And we've exported a lot of work and imported a lot. And that's a big part of the growth and the big boom that we've seen the past few decades. Our U.S. military has kept that going, right? We have so many military bases. I think, like a couple hundred around the world that's frontal deployed, and we maintain a position all around the world. And a big part of that keeps the world running, right? And enables a lot of countries to do what they do and participate in free trade. So our government, and that's why our military is so important. If you think from a macroeconomic standpoint, how important that is, it's a big deal. You look at it like off the shores of Africa and like the pirates, right, jumping on the planes, undermining oil rigs and things like that. Right. It's like, you want an aircraft carrier to roll up real quick, you start undermining free trade and these straits that are certain there. Then all of a sudden we do it. So obviously our government has an important position to protect our country's interests, right, and keep us safe and be forward thinking as well, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. And keep everybody safe, man. It's really important.
Well, you have anything else, Mr. Bishop? No. Well,
no, I'm good. I really appreciate you coming in.
Of course.
And you're a very bright guy. I don't understand why you're a Democrat, but I'll let that go for a minute.
I'll tell you what,
I'm just.
No, I'm not going to take it back. I'm going to take it back. And then I'm going to give you a question back, all right? Then you got to explain to me why you're a Broncos fan.
Right.
You're trash.
John Elway.
You're a trash team. Been a while.
Yeah. Oh, no, they're trash right now. Trust me. 8 years of being trash. I admit to that. But John Elway. Yes, I always wanted to be John Elway. That was my dream. I was going to be John Elway.
Yeah, he was great. I'm a Democrat because I believe in leading with empathy, right? I care about people. That's why.
So you don't think Republicans care about people?
It's not that I necessarily don't think that Republicans don't care about people. And I want to be very careful with generalized statements regarding any group of people, right?
But
I'm very sensitive of that, and I'm not a Republican bad kind of guy. That's not my MO. What attracted me to the Democratic Party is over the years and growing up as a kid, I saw leaders that led with empathy, that inspired me year after year. And the way you lead matters to me. Because you are the example for the future, and kids look to you to leadership. The way you act, right? The way you act, we mirror one another from that. And I've grown up seeing Democrats that I appreciated that led with leadership and the values that are important to me. And that's why I'm so pissed off when I don't see it the other way around in this state.
Right.
And so I'm so disappointed when it's not there, when the values aren't being represented and the leadership isn't there the way I'd like it to see, and I see dirty politics being played at a puppeteer to manage to gatekeep. Right. I'm like, that's not what it's supposed to be about. Yeah. And then you're going to wonder why you lose people in the Democratic Party. You're going to wonder why. In the short term, it's short-term winning. You short-term win when you take the free will from people and you control people and you want to squeeze people to do what you only want to do for your agenda. Then people buck. They buck the system and you lose them. And then they put on a pea shirt, pants, and a camel hat. Hey, start the podcast, and they get mad, and this is what happens. You piss people off, and they revolt. And that's the thing, is you keep bucking people, and you push people, and you beat them down, and it changes. It's not supposed to be about that. It's what I love about Barack and Obama. He inspired me, and he drives me. And you could debate on his policies and things like that, but I don't believe him either that he's a bad man. I think it's like no real controversies and no big issues. I think he respected the office and led with leadership, and he did it in a way that was powerful. You can't say he didn't do it with honor, right? I don't think that honor means a lot to me, right? Honor, and that's why I respect so much respect for our military. Yeah. You take care of our veterans. You take care of people that do things with honor. Honor, values, standing up for our flag and our country. That's at the top of the top, man, because it's the work, and the work is pure. So I like that from the Democrat perspective. That's important to me. I have a big issue, obviously, with the issue in the Republicans after the election, storming the Capitol, right? And obviously that could be debated, the insurrectionist component, but you don't get to do that, right? You don't get to undermine our democracy in a republic ever. That is just, that kind of stuff is bad for me. I don't like potential racist undertones and dog whistles, right? And I feel like in some of the Republican Party, it gets hijacked by some more extremist groups that can participate with the movement, and the dog whistles really bother me. You know what I went through as a kid, right, and where I come from, right, and my background. I have a very hard issue. I have a big time with that. That will ever be hard for me to let go. And it gets back to empathy, and kindness. But I also believe in accountability and believe in results. You have to deliver. I don't like puppeteering and just be like, oh, you got to be this way because this is this group. Nah, you got to earn that. You got to earn that vote, and you got to do the work. And if, as Democrats, we're going to keep winning, then you need to have progress. Because if Democrats are going to, then what is going on with our country? What's going on with our world, right? We have to deliver, and you have accountability there.
Maybe not elect a guy that can't even finish a sentence.
That's a whole nother situation. 82.
Well, no, and I'm not. I mean, to all due respect to the president, I am not disrespecting President Biden. President Biden actually is a very smart person. I just think he's past his prime.
Look, both are old, 82 and 79. Right?
Yeah.
You look at where we go. Thomas Jefferson, our founding fathers, were my age. They were 35.
Right.
That's the way it used to be.
Yeah.
Right? Career politicians, is something that's really rough, right? Yeah. That's a whole nother scenario. I got into this after I had a certain level of financial security. I built businesses. I built real estate. I started my family and my education, and then I decided to get in. I didn't get into this to make it. I didn't get into this to be a fan. I would have done more TV shows. I could have go make more money. I didn't do it for any of that. You think I'm doing it for that? No.
Christian, we're running out of time now.
He's trying to get rid of me. You can't get rid of me, Santa. Thank you for having me.
Well, Christian, I want you to look at the camera. Mark's going to zoom in on you.
Thank you.
And tell folks why they need to go to the voting booth and vote for you and your point of contact.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Look, early voting opened up May 25th. Close. June 11th is the last day. We need about 4,000 to 5,000 votes to win out in Henderson. And then we need 33,000 to win in November. I'm going to need everybody's support. That's nonpartisan, independent parties. That's Republicans. I'd love to earn your vote as well. Visit my website, christianbishop.com. You can reach out to me at christian@christianbishop.com on my email address as well, or even my cell phone, 702-702-1989. Call, text, email me, guys. Thanks for what you guys do.
Well, Christian, thanks for coming on the show. Jim, thank you so much.
Appreciate you.
Folks, that's Christian Bishop, Nevada State Senate District Number 5 candidate. And Christian has been endorsed by all 4 veterans groups. So we want you guys to go to the voting booth and vote for Christian Bishop. He's a good guy, and he's going to make Nevada proud. This is Steve Sanson, Jim Jones of Veterans in Politics. Until next time.